और समावेशी विकास को बढ़ावा देने की दिशा में कुछ ही समय पश्चात माननीय राष्ट्रपति महोदय का आगमन होगा। ऐसे 10 क्षेत्र निर्धारित किए गए हैं जहां पर मौलिक शोध की कमी हमारे देश में महसूस की गई है। माननीय राष्ट्रपति महोदय का आगमन
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We now begin the proceedings of the first session of the second day of the Visitors Conference 2015. Honorable President of India, Shri Pranab Mukherjee, Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, Honorable HRD Minister, Srimati Smriti Zubin Irani, Honorable MOS Chemicals and Fertilizers, Shri Hansraj Ahir, Honorable MOS HRD, Shri Ram Shankar Khateria, Professor C.N.R. Rao, Srimati Amita Paul, Secretary to Honorable President, Vice Chancellors, Directors of Institute of Higher Learning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We have gathered here in the historic Darbar Hall of Rashtrapati Bhavan to witness yet another historic event, the launching of Imprint, the acronym for Impacting Research, Innovation and Technology. Conceived in the presence of the Honorable President and Honorable Prime Minister, in the last similar conference, Imprint would develop a roadmap to research to address the major engineering and technological challenges in 10 technology domains relevant to India. Imprint has a potential to yield rich dividends. It has the promise of being a grid on which the various innovative schemes like the Make in India program, personally launched by the Honorable Prime Minister to take the nation on an unprecedented economic trajectory, gain momentum and greater traction. With these few words, I request Srimati Amita Paul, Secretary to the Honorable President, to welcome this modest gathering.
Honorable President, Sir, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Minister of HRD, MOS, HRD, MOS, Pharmaceutical Department, leaders of the institutions of higher learning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. I extend a very warm welcome to all of you to the Visitors Conference 2015 at Rashtrapati Bhavan. I am really grateful to the Honorable Prime Minister for making time to be with us this morning. His presence will serve as an inspiration for all the participants. The Darbar Hall where we are seated today stands testimony to many historic events that have shaped the destiny of our nation both pre and post-independence. I have no doubt that the present Visitors' Conference shall be viewed as an important landmark in the annals of higher education in India. Honorable President is a staunch believer in the transformative power of education. For him, science, education, research, and innovation are the four pillars on which the development as well as the work culture of a nation rests. In pursuance of his vision, we have, with the wholehearted support and cooperation of the Ministry of HRD, convened a total of 7 conferences of heads of central universities, NITs, IITs, and ICERs at Rashtrapati Bhavan over the last 3 years. The recommendations emanating from these conferences have resulted in a number of initiatives and positive outcomes in the field of higher education. We have now taken the next step forward by bringing together all 114 institutions of higher learning where President is the visitor on a common platform with the hope that this will provide an opportunity to create synergies based on a shared vision. Ladies and gentlemen, the agenda for this conference aims at drawing a roadmap for making our higher educational system more relevant, contemporary, and benchmarked to international standards. The major items for discussion include improving the quality of higher education to bring it at par with the top institutions of the world through national and international networks, building the capacity of the faculty to provide quality education, developing scientific and technological capacity for innovation and research, creating interlinkages with industry, and deepening the involvement of alumni. You will find novelty underlining the narrative of this conference. Yesterday was devoted to pre-conference activities. We began with a vibrant session on industry-academia collaboration, followed in the evening by an exchange of 43 MOUs in various areas. This, by any standards, is an impressive beginning. In the second session, we had the pleasure of listening to 3 eminent Indians, Professor C.N.R. Rao, Professor M.S. Swaminathan, and Shri Kailash Satyarthi. They shared their life experiences with us. Their achievements and their contributions to the society not only served to underline the fact that we as a nation abound in potentialities, we only have to learn to realize them. I would like to express our deepest gratitude to them for their inspiring presence and the stirring interaction that followed. During the first session today, we'll see the launch of Imprint India by the Honorable President. Imprint, which stands for Impacting Research, Innovation and Technology, is a pan-IIT and ISC initiative aimed at developing a roadmap for research for solving major engineering and technology challenges in 10 domain areas relevant to our country. This will be followed by the release of a brochure by the Honorable Prime Minister, which would help in widespread dissemination of these topics of research amongst the scientific community. This, we are confident, will result in directing research activity to critically important areas, enabling our scientific and educational institutions to actively partner in the India growth story. We will also have 2 panel discussions, one later in the day and another tomorrow, where eminent personalities from academia, industry, and research organizations will share their perspectives on the agenda items for the conference. Finally, the group work on agenda items for this year's conference, as also the status of action taken on previous year's conferences, shall be presented to the Honorable President by the heads of the participating institutions. In line with our emphasis on international rankings, the 2 major international rating agencies, QS and Times Higher Education, shall be making detailed presentations on ranking methodology and related aspects in a pre-dinner session. I'm sure this entire range of activities will keep us gainfully occupied over the next 2 days. We expect a clear and defined pathway for moving forward to emerge from these deliberations. With these words, I once again welcome all of you to this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request Honorable HRD Minister, Srimati Smriti Zubin Irani, to address this gathering. Madam.
Honorable President of India, Honorable Prime Minister, my cabinet colleagues Shri Hansraj Ahir, Shri Ramsankar Katheria, Vice Chancellors and Directors of all central educational institutions, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. At the onset, while I extend my warm greetings to institutional leaders, academia, industry leaders, I also take this opportunity to extend my grateful thanks to the Honorable President of India for blessing us with a lasting legacy of engagement, debate and deliberation through this, the annual platform aptly named the Visitors' Conference. I take this opportunity to thank the Honorable Prime Minister, who dared us to dream big and led us to transform that dream into reality. For who would have thought that an idea that germinated from this very conference a year ago would meet with success within a span of just 12 months? A famous jurist once said, "If we lose our sensitivity towards the quality of life, it can only mean that while our knowledge increases, our ignorance does not diminish." The Honorable Prime Minister gave a clarion call that institutions of higher education leverage their research capabilities for socially relevant programs, identify technology gaps, and prepare plans for innovations that could substantially increase income and growth in rural India. Thus began a journey called Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. While I congratulate institutions that have adopted villages to help accelerate growth through technology transfer, I implore that much more can be done. To complement our engagements with central institutions, while we recognize the need to infuse new knowledge into our academic ecosystem, we also bear in mind the economic challenges many of our students are confronted with when a desire to engage with foreign academicians manifests itself, but the dream dies a painful death in the absence of money. Hence, I thank the Honorable Prime Minister for sharing his vision of enabling foreign academicians to come teach in India at government institutions across the nation at no added cost to our students under a program called GYAN. Starting this November, in the coming 1 year, we, under GYAN, will welcome 400 foreign academicians in government institutions to impart new knowledge to our students and share new teaching methodologies with our faculty. Goethe once said, "Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it." And begin we did. We translated the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister and dedicated to the nation the first ever National Institutional Ranking Framework in September 2015, which will annually rank all higher educational institutions based on an objective and verifiable criteria. A system which will allow declaration of ranks by the first week of April every year, thereby empowering our students to make informed choices. And while we leverage technology to empower the choices of our students, we also recognize the power of technology to help create more learning opportunities. For a nation is not only built on bricks and mortar, a civilization flourishes on enlightenment. HRD has resolved, with the blessings of the Honorable Prime Minister, to build an Indian MOOCs platform on which we aspire to bring close to 2.5 lakh hours of e-content on a single platform called Swayam, thereby possibly making it the world's largest repository of electronic learning resource under a single window. From school education modules of level 9 to 12 to varied courses in aerospace engineering, biotechnology, atmospheric sciences, languages, Swayam will ensure universal access to high-quality education for every Indian. My sincere thanks to institutions present here today who have confirmed close to 714 courses that will be specially designed for SWAYAM. Ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, let me also extend my gratitude to our friends from the industry who have engaged with our academic institutions to give impetus to research, enable and encourage student placements. To them I say, as Nani Palkiwala famously said, this is the best investment you could have made, for knowledge is the only instrument of production which is not subject to diminishing returns. In the end, while I thank the Honorable Prime Minister for gracing this occasion and the Honorable President for hosting this much-needed conference, I recognize that opportunities multiply when they are seized and die when they are neglected. Without much further ado, I look forward to this historic opportunity to witness the launch of Imprint India with the blessings of the Honorable President and the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Jai Hind.
Thank you, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, now I hand over the floor to Professor Indranil Manna, Director IIT Kanpur, for his presentation on Imprint. Dr. Manna, please.
Honorable President of India, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Minister of Human Resource Development, distinguished dignitaries, officials, esteemed colleagues from academic fraternity and friends. It is indeed a very rare privilege and a great honor to present before you, the august gathering, this initiative, the recent one, impacting research, innovation, and technology, acronymed Imprint. The second largest population of the world, which will soon be the youngest, aspires and deserves much better quality and security of life. Success in engineering endeavors can and should provide substantial solutions which is sustainable to all societal needs, challenges, and aspirations by accelerating innovation, creating new jobs and opportunities, and providing viable technology. Imprint is a national movement to integrate with all the academic, R&D institutions and industry to mutually complement each other and deliver what the country demands and aspires. And there's a uniqueness in this initiative. It's for the first time, all the IITs and IAC, they have come on board together and taken the pledge to work and deliver. We have a team which comprises about 200 faculty members drawn from these 17 institutions, but this team will expand. The focus is on sharpening India's competitive edge by empowering the human resources, enhancing India's international standing in science and technology, by boosting the economy, by taking enough measures to achieve inclusive growth and self-reliance. For pursuing this course, we have chosen 10 representative, not really exhaustive, technology domains where we want to start the initiative, and that's going to make the largest impact on the quality of life. These domains are chosen in terms of the priority and urgency. Engineering innovation for inclusive growth and self-reliance should be addressed first towards the issues related to the living world. When we talk of the issues related to the living world, first and foremost, we want to ensure that housing is affordable and sustainable for all. There are issues which are related to civil engineering, architecture, social infrastructure, transportation, even leading to creation of smart cities. Healthcare, once upon a time, used to be the domain of only the medical practitioners. Today, you cannot think of healthcare where engineering and technological interventions are absent. In fact, we aspire to make healthcare affordable and effective and available to one and all. We have to create new diagnostic tools, new sensors, imaging techniques, ICT solutions to reach out to all, create regenerative medicine, understand the knowledge behind traditional medicine, and most importantly, make the healthcare management and sort out all the legal issues related to this. The biggest insurance towards sustaining growth is to have energy security. The country today has about 300 gigawatt installed capacity. To sustain the growth that we aspire to achieve, double digit, we immediately require to extend and expand by at least 4 to 5 times. Resources are limited. We must look for alternative and renewable resources, but at the same time must realize that 3/4 of India's energy is derived from fossil fuel resources. So there has to be research and innovation to enable the country use fusion technology, convert coal-based or fossil fuel-based technology into clean coal technology, use hydrogen energy, devise new innovations for storage of energy, and in fact, create a new strategy for energy economy. Life doesn't exist without water. So we have to understand and address all critical challenges of water resources and river systems. This is one of the most precious resources which should be sparingly used. But we often make things difficult for us by not being able to manage water resources and creating and converting them into wastes. So waste management becomes another very important issue. In fact, river system is today called river science because the entire population living in the basins of the rivers, their lifestyle, culture, and everything they aspire are all related to the river systems. Finally, the environment is something that we cannot jeopardize, even if we want to achieve the highest growth rate. So we have to worry about climate, we have to worry about the ocean, take care of air pollution and minimize. We also should make sure that carbon sequestration, nitrogen fixation, and all other important issues are well taken care. So growth and prosperity without adverse impact on environment is something we want to achieve through imprint. The next domain or garland of issues related to our endeavor to achieve engineering innovation for inclusive growth and self-reliance is related to the materials world. It's not just advanced material. Materials as a whole acts as the backbone for any hardware industry. So we must reinvent our technological excellence in structural materials, functional materials, emerging materials, so as to achieve leadership in hardware through all these materials technology. In fact, if the country has to achieve the great goal set by Honorable Prime Minister of Make in India, then we must improve the competitiveness of Indian manufacturing industries. And in order to do that, we must realize that the process should start right from the grassroots. We have in this country now about 10 to 15% contribution towards our GDP, and more than half of the GDP coming from service and financial sectors. This is not quite a sustainable model, and manufacturing must contribute very significantly towards country's economic growth. And in this endeavor, nanotechnology is something which cannot be ignored. We have made great strides in nanoscience. Now is the time when just not looking at the high resolution and small length scale understanding of materials, but we must translate that knowledge into viable products, which is not only miniature, but also achieve certain new functionality, which is possible only because of the exploitation of nanometric materials and design. Talking about materials, the country also requires security against all kinds of threats to homeland and even cyberspace. The country must be capable to defend itself against any enemy attack, and to a large extent, the excellence to which we can achieve, that depends on the material hardware that we can produce in this very country and reduce our dependence on external sources. Information science and technology, leaders across the world today, majority of them are of Indian origin. If they could do offshore, why can't do it onshore? So we must aspire to achieve the global leadership in information and communication technology. All these pursuits that I mentioned are representative domains, not exhaustive. We certainly would like to expand in future if we need to address any other issue. But I must also assure that initiatives of imprint is not divorced from reality, is very much willing to strike a synergy with all the important national missions, some of which Honorable Human Resource Minister just mentioned. Manufacturing is going to contribute towards Make in India. The ICT-based learning processes to reach out to millions would contribute towards Rashtriya Avishkar Abhiyan, even Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. Nanotechnology and advanced materials are intricate parts of Digital India mission. Skilling India is also equally important. We need to reach out. And I must confess that we don't envisage all the solutions of the technological challenges that we are talking about need not come only from degree-holding engineers. We believe many of the innovations would come from the grassroots. We need to sharpen them and give them the required legitimacy. When we want to aspire and create path for prosperity, there's no escape from understanding the underlying role of science, engineering, and technology. Typically, science addresses only the fundamental question of know why, whereas engineering translates those principles and informs us how to do it, hence know how. And eventually, only a part of this knowledge sees the light of real-time applications. So technology is know what sells in the market. Yesterday, we heard brilliant expositions on science and relation to society. While science, engineering, and technology are intricately related to society, they themselves are very closely knit. So when science wants to unravel the nature, by curiosity or need-inspired act leading to certain major discoveries at times, engineering tries to learn from the nature and creates replica, and that leads to several new inventions. but a few of them eventually sees the light of application, and that happens through engineering interventions and innovation. So we want to ensure that we work in tandem with all the scientific organizations, R&D laboratories, and industry together right from the beginning, so that whatever we try to innovate eventually sees the light of application. The modern innovation ecosystem thrives by contributions from the major components. While academia creates and disseminates new knowledge, either by teaching or by research, R&D institutions pursues innovation and adding value, and industry delivers or produces viable technology. All these happens because the society consumes and at the same time demands. So the entire initiative under Imprint is directed towards this ecosystem. Whatever we pursue, aspire, and eventually innovate should actually go through this ecosystem so that every invention or innovation is sustainable. I would like to draw your attention to one of the important phrases that I used in the beginning, million challenges and billion minds, and explain where is this million coming from. We decided to select 10 domains and have about 10 themes in each one of them, and further divide those themes into 10 targets, and each target leading towards about 10 topics. If we distribute this among 100 partners, that makes a million challenges, engineering challenges that we should address to solve the major problems faced by the country. Not problems, challenges faced by the country. In order to pursue that, the first phase of Imprint is devoted to creating a new education policy in the engineering domain and creating a new research roadmap. Why new? Because these need to be directed and allow translation of knowledge to create new opportunities and national wealth. We need funding. There's no denying from that. And we hope about 1,000 crore is made available to us for pursuing the challenges that we define. We also need convergent action from the government agencies and departments. We should not work in isolation. There must be a synergy and leading to a common goal. Many of the innovations never sees the light of application because the solution that we create may eventually not be possible to be adopted by the society. And this can be overcome or ensured if industry participates actively as a stakeholder, not as a sponsor. We believe that these million challenges that we are talking about can easily be solved by crowdsourcing. And I'm happy to inform you that we already made a progress in this by conducting, first of all, a logo competition to give a face to Imprint, and also conducted a national essay competition. Many of the prize winners today, about 30 of them, are actually present. They are students from engineering institutions across the country. Recently, in an international forum where scientists from National Academy of Engineering USA participated, one of the colleagues made a mention that in India, you enjoy an unfair advantage. What he meant was that for a population of 1.25 billion, close to 1 billion are about 35 or younger. And we'll soon be the youngest nation in the world. If this country has one major resource, this is this human resource. And Imprint is committed to empower them through new kind of engineering education so that solutions will automatically emerge from the enthusiasm of them. I would also like to mention that the whole deliberation of Imprint started in Rashtrapati Bhavan last year when the Honorable President invited us, and one of the themes that we presented was on technology domains. Subsequently, this year in April, the ministry issued a memo and we started official work. Several meetings took place. Close to 200 faculty members have joined. Almost a dozen interactions took place. And we are now determined to create a new education policy and a research roadmap in another few months' time. But the real work will begin when we have identified and defined the problems. Because in science and technology, we always mention a problem defined is half the problem done. Once that is done, then we have to get going. And by that, what we mean is not just the IITs and ISC, but the entire country, the entire engineering fraternity. So million challenges may sound many, but resources are even more. We have billion minds. And success will eventually come to us, provided we remain focused and devoted. I would like to, on behalf of the entire team Imprint, acknowledge our gratitude for giving us this very, very important platform to talk about Imprint. The highest political leadership of the country has given us this opportunity and will remain grateful forever. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Professor Manna. It is now my proud privilege to request the Honorable Prime Minister to release the Imprint India brochure and present its first copy to the Honorable President. Thank you, sir. It's my privilege to request the Honorable President to launch the Imprint India.
With your permission, sir, may I explain that this website is a repository of all the knowledge that will be generated under Imprint, but this repository will be a dynamic one and will serve as a window to the rest of the world, including all the young minds that we want to attract. We have in this website a message from our Honorable Minister. We also have an introduction about Imprint. All the domains are listed here. We have also provisions for engaging young minds. And most importantly, we are looking forward to connect to the entire world and leverage from whatever knowledge is available. So apart from these 10 domains, we also have a possibility of interaction with young minds where they can actually contribute and they can even pose questions which will be possible to, which will allow the young minds to interact with the experts at their convenience. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It's my proud privilege to request the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi, to address us. Honorable Prime Minister, sir.
परम आदरणीय राष्ट्रपति जी, मंत्रिपरिषद के मेरे साथी, उपस्थित सभी वरिष्ठ महानुभाव, मैं आदरणीय राष्ट्रपति जी का बहुत आभारी हूं कि आपने इस व्यवस्था को प्राणवान बनाया। वरना आना मिलना कुछ इधर से कुछ उधर से और फिर बाय बाय, इस रिचुअल से बाहर इस व्यवस्था को निकाल करके इसमें प्राण भरने की कोशिश हुई है और समय की मांग के अनुसार उसमें पार्टिसिपेशन, इन्वॉल्वमेंट, कोऑर्डिनेशन, इस पर अधिक बल दिया गया है। ये जो व्यवस्था विकसित हुई है और उसके मंथन में से जो अमृत प्राप्त हो रहा है, वो भविष्य में राष्ट्र की विकास यात्रा के रोड मैप को तैयार करेगा। उसमें ज्ञान और अनुभव के सामर्थ्य को जोड़ेगा और समय सीमा में परिवर्तन लाने के प्रयासों को बल देगा। मैं हमेशा सोचता हूं कि प्राथमिक शिक्षा व्यक्ति के जीवन के निर्माण में बहुत बड़ी भूमिका अदा करते हैं। प्राथमिक शिक्षा इंसान को जड़ों से जोड़ती है, लेकिन हायर एजुकेशन आसमान छूने के अरमान जगाती है। और इसलिए जितना महत्व है प्राथमिक शिक्षा के माध्यम से जीवन को तैयार करना, प्राथमिक शिक्षा के माध्यम से जड़ों से जुड़ना, उतना ही हायर एजुकेशन के माध्यम से आसमान को छूने वाले अरमान कैसे जगे। अगर प्राथमिक शिक्षा व्यक्ति घड़तर पर ज्यादा बल देती है तो हायर एजुकेशन राष्ट्र घड़तर का आधार बनती है। राष्ट्र कैसा शक्तिशाली बनेगा, उसका एक रोड मैप, उसकी एक ब्लूप्रिंट इस कालखंड में तैयार होती है। और उस अर्थ में आप लोगों का योगदान, आपके द्वारा इंस्टीट्यूशंस का योगदान राष्ट्र के विकास की यात्रा को, राष्ट्र निर्माण के प्रयासों को, समयानुकूल जिन ताकतों की आवश्यकता है उसको जोड़ने के लिए काम आता है। शायद इसके पूर्व की कोई शताब्दी ऐसी नहीं होगी जिस पर टेक्नोलॉजी का इतना प्रभाव रहा हो। एक प्रकार से पूरा समाज जीवन टेक्नोलॉजी ड्रिवन हुआ है और तब जाकर के हमारे लिए भी आवश्यक होता है कि टेक्नोलॉजी के उस महात्मा को स्वीकार करते हुए, भविष्य को ध्यान में रखते हुए हम एफोर्डेबल टेक्नोलॉजी की तरफ कैसे आगे बढ़े, हम सस्टेनेबल टेक्नोलॉजी पर बल कैसे दें। और ये करना है तो हमें इनोवेशन को बल देना पड़ेगा। मिलियंस ऑफ मिलियन चैलेंजेस आर देयर, लेकिन जैसा भी बताया गया कि बिलियंस माइंड आर आल्सो देयर, लेकिन जब तक वो माइंड इनोवेशन के साथ नहीं जुड़ता है, वो अगर सिर्फ उपभोक्ता ही बना रहता है तो मैं नहीं मानता हूं कि इतने सारे माइंड को हम खुराक भी दे पाएंगे। उसको जो दिमागी खुराक चाहिए वो भी नहीं दे पाएंगे। और इसलिए हम भाग्यवान हैं, हमारे पास बिलियंस ऑफ बिलियन माइंड है, लेकिन जब तक हम इनोवेशन के लिए कोई अगर हम प्रॉपर एनवायरनमेंट नहीं देते हैं, मैकेनिज्म डेवलप नहीं करते हैं, रिसोर्स मोबिलाइज नहीं करते हैं, तो कभी कभी विचार धरे के धरे रह जाते हैं। और इसलिए सपनों को साकार करने का एक मार्ग होता है इनोवेशन। हमारी इंस्टीट्यूशंस इनोवेशन को प्राथमिकता देने में कितनी कामयाब हो रही है। अब आज ग्लोबल वार्मिंग, एनवायरनमेंट, ये सारे इश्यूज की चर्चा हो रही है दुनिया में। कुछ लोगों के लिए ग्लोबल वार्मिंग एक चिंता का विषय है, तो कुछ लोगों के लिए ग्लोबल वार्मिंग एक मार्केट का कारण है। उन्होंने इसको एक मार्केट अपॉर्चुनिटी में कन्वर्ट करने की सोची है। वे चाहते हैं कि हम टेक्नोलॉजी में इनोवेशन करेंगे और ग्लोबल वार्मिंग के नाम पर दुनिया के मार्केट को कैप्चर करेंगे। भारत जैसे देश के लिए आवश्यकता बन जाती है कि हम भावी पीढ़ी की रक्षा के लिए क्या वो इनोवेशन दुनिया के सामने ला सकते हैं कि जो अच्छा भी हो, सस्ता भी हो और सामान्य मानवी के जीवन के साथ सहजता से एडप्टेबल हो। अगर ये व्यवस्थाएं हम विकसित करते हैं तब तो ये बिलियंस ऑफ बिलियन पीपल एक कदम चल करके भी क्लाइमेट चेंज की इतनी बड़ी समस्या के समाधान के लिए रास्ते खोज सकते हैं। आज दुनिया में एक कल्चर डेवलप हुआ, थ्रो अवे कल्चर, लेकिन दुनिया ने संकट जो पैदा हुआ है उसके कारण अब थ्रो अवे कल्चर्स के चिंता का कारण बना है। और उसके कारण रीयूज कैसे करना, रिसाइकल कैसे करना, इस पर मंथन चल रहे हैं। भारत जैसा इतना बड़ा देश, हम वेस्ट को वेल्थ में क्रिएट करने के लिए क्या इनोवेशन कर सकते हैं। मान लीजिए हमें 50 मिलियन मकान बनाने हैं। आज जिस मटेरियल के आधार पर मकान बना रहे हैं, क्या हम उतने मकान बनाने के लिए मटेरियल प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं? हम जानते हैं इन दिनों नदी की रेत, बालू स्मगलिंग होता है। एक राज्य दूसरे राज्य में स्मगल करता है क्योंकि उसको कंस्ट्रक्शन के लिए रेत उपलब्ध नहीं है। एनवायरनमेंट के कारण भी ऐसे हैं कि रेत लेना भी मुश्किल होते जा रहा है। तब जाकर के हमारे इनोवेशन के लिए सबसे बड़ी चैलेंज है कि हम मकानों की रचना में किस मटेरियल को प्रोवाइड करेंगे जो हमारे पास वेस्ट पड़ा होगा, वही वेल्थ क्रिएशन का कारण बनेगा। हम इनोवेशन को कैसे लाएं? हम कभी कभी बाहरी या उधारी चीजों को तुरंत अडॉप्ट कर देते हैं। जिस जगह पर मुश्किल से सप्ताह में एक आध दिन सूरज के दर्शन होते हैं, वो जब मकान की रचना करेगा तो चारों तरफ शीशे लगाएगा ताकि कहीं से एक किरण मिल जाए तो चली ना जाए, मेरे नसीब में आ जाए। लेकिन हम भी अगर वैसा करेंगे तो फिर हमें क्या करना पड़ता है? एक कर्टन लगाओ, 2 कर्टन लगाओ, 5 कर्टन लगाओ, टेम्परेचर यानी हमें हमारे रिक्वायरमेंट के अनुसार हमारे आर्किटेक्चर को डेवलप करना पड़ेगा। जब तक हम हमारे रिक्वायरमेंट के अनुसार हमारे आर्किटेक्चर को डेवलप नहीं करते हैं और हम बोरो की हुई व्यवस्थाओं को स्वीकार करेंगे तो शायद हम ही संकट को बढ़ाने के लिए हिस्सेदार बनेंगे। और इसलिए साइंस इज यूनिवर्सल बट टेक्नोलॉजी मस्ट बी लोकल। ये जब तक हम एम्फेसाइज नहीं करते हैं। अब मान लीजिए मुझे आसाम के अंदर पानी निकालना या पानी पहुंचाना है, तो मैं 50 बार सोचूंगा कि मुझे स्टील की पाइप की जरूरत है क्या वहां। और मेरा आंसर है कि स्टील की पाइप के बिना बाम्बू को पाइप में कन्वर्ट कर करके पानी पहुंचाया जा सकता है और स्टील से उसकी लाइफ ज्यादा होती है। कहने का तात्पर्य है कि मुझे अगर वहां बाम्बू से काम चलता है तो मुझे स्टील ले जाने की जरूरत क्या है। और इसलिए समाज जीवन की जो स्वाभाविक आवश्यकताएं हैं उसको हम कैसे उस प्रकार से उपयोग करें। हम एक वर्चुअल प्लेटफॉर्म तैयार कर सकते हैं क्या। एक वेबसाइट आज इम्प्रिंट की हमारे सामने आई। हम एक ऐसा वर्चुअल प्लेटफॉर्म तैयार करें जो ग्लोबली इस प्रकार के सहज प्रयोग हो रहे हैं उनको हम इनवाइट करें, हम उस पर सेमिनार करें, चर्चा करें और उसमें से कुछ चीजें हो सकता है हमारे लिए स्पार्किंग पॉइंट बने, हमें कुछ करने के लिए प्रेरणा दे सकते हैं। क्या हम इसका उपयोग कर सकते हैं क्या? अगर हम इस प्रकार से लोगों को जोड़ते हैं, अधिक प्रयास करते हैं तो परिणाम मिलता है। हमारी इंस्टीट्यूशंस, आज हम जानते हैं कि हमारे यहां जो स्टूडेंट आते हैं किस प्रकार से आते हैं, एक चिंता का विषय है कि ज्यादातर स्टूडेंट हमारे पास अब जो पहुंच रहे हैं वे एंट्रेंस एग्जाम कैसे पार करना उसी में उनकी मास्टरी होती है। वे उस प्रकार के क्लासेस को अटेंड करते हैं जो आपको एग्जाम पार कराने का रास्ता दिखाती है और उसके कारण हम उसकी रियल टैलेंट और कैपेबिलिटी से अनभिज्ञ रह जाते हैं। वो एडमिशन ले लेता है और उसको मालूम है कि हमारा देश ऐसा है कि एक बार पाइपलाइन के इस दौर पे अंदर प्रवेश कर गया तो दूसरी तरफ निकलना ही निकलना है, बाद में बीच में कोई रास्ता ही नहीं है। हमारे यहाँ कोई एक आईएएस अफसर 24 घंटे पढ़ाई करके एग्जाम पास कर लिया, अंदर आ गया तो उधर सेक्रेटरी बनकर ही निकलेगा। ये जो स्थिति है और इसलिए हमें लगातार हमारे यहां रैंकिंग करने की पद्धति बदल सकते हैं क्या, वरना हम इन्वेस्टमेंट करते जाएं। समाज का है, मैं सरकार की बात नहीं कर रहा। हम इन्वेस्टमेंट करते जाएं लेकिन अल्टीमेट प्रोडक्ट जो है वो हमारे काम ना आए, उसका तो गुजारा कर लें, लेकिन वो खुद का गुजारा तो टीचर बन के भी कर लेता। आज हमारा देश इतनी बड़ी मात्रा में डिफेंस इक्विपमेंट इंपोर्ट करता है। देश का बहुत बड़ा बजट डिफेंस सेक्टर में लगा है। क्या मेरे देश की टेक्निकल इंस्टीट्यूशंस वो रिसर्च और इनोवेशन में लीड नहीं कर सकते कि जो डिफेंस इक्विपमेंट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के लिए जो रिसोर्स मोबिलाइजेशन है उसमें सबसे बड़ी ताकत है टैलेंट एंड ह्यूमन रिसोर्स। उस ह्यूमन रिसोर्स की कैपेबिलिटी इतनी हो कि दुनिया के किसी भी डिफेंस मैन्युफैक्चरिंग वाले लोग हैं उसको पहले ये ध्यान में आना चाहिए कि भाई द बेस्ट टैलेंट इज हियर, मैं मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में हूं करूंगा और मुझे अगर चीप टैलेंट मिल जाती है तो मैं ग्लोबल मार्केट के अंदर एफोर्डेबल रूप में खड़ा हो जाऊंगा, मैं मार्केट में खड़ा हो जाऊंगा। और इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि मुझे अगर मेरे देश की डिफेंस रिक्वायरमेंट के लिए इतना इंपोर्ट है, अगर मेरी इतनी इंस्टीट्यूशंस मिलकर के तय करें कि अब हिंदुस्तान के 10 साल के अंदर डिफेंस इक्विपमेंट इंपोर्ट करने में हम 50% कम कर देंगे। मैं समझता हूं भारत सरकार को जितना बजट बचेगा इसी एजुकेशन सिस्टम को बढ़ावा देने के लिए देने में कोई हर्ज नहीं होगा। कितना बड़ा फायदा होगा, हम आत्मनिर्भर बनेंगे। और इसलिए हम लोगों को जब तक ये हम नहीं सोचते कि हमारी आवश्यकताएं क्या है, आज सोलर एनर्जी की तरफ सबका ध्यान गया है। 175 गीगावाट बहुत बड़ा एम्बिशियस प्लान है। दुनिया के किसी भी देश के व्यक्ति के साथ जब भारत 175 गीगावाट रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी की बात करता है तो 5 मिनट तो समझ नहीं पाता है कि मैं मेगावाट बोल रहा हूं, गीगावाट बोल रहा हूं। उनको अचरज हो रहा है, क्या कोई देश इतना बड़ा इनिशिएटिव ले सकता है? लेकिन अगर हम टेक्नोलॉजी में इनोवेशन करें, हम सोलर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में, सोलर के इक्विपमेंट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में हम नए इनोवेशन कर करके हम मैक्सिमम पावर जनरेशन की दिशा में कैसे जा सकते हैं? हम उसको और कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव कैसे बना सकते हैं, हम कितनी बड़ी देश की सेवा कर सकते हैं। अभी मैं एक साइंस मैगजीन देख रहा था, पढ़ तो पाता नहीं हूँ ज़्यादा, तो उसमें एक चीज़ मेरे ध्यान में आई। एक प्रयोग चल रहा है विंड एनर्जी के संबंध में। तो जो विंड टर्बाइन्स हैं, अब वो हवा में जो ह्यूमिडिटी है उसको भी कैप्चर कर रहे हैं। अब वो विंड के कारण पावर तो जनरेट करते हैं, लेकिन उसी व्यवस्था से वो ह्यूमिडिटी को कैप्चर करके उसमें से पानी में कन्वर्ट करते हैं। और एक विंड मिल 24 घंटे में 10,000 लीटर स्वीट वाटर हवा में से लेकर के दे सकता है। मतलब कि मान लीजिए रेगिस्तान के इलाके के गांव है, अगर वहां हमारे ऐसी विंड में लगती है जहां विंड वेलोसिटी भी है, और अगर मैं 10,000 लीटर स्वीट वाटर देता हूं, मतलब मैं हेल्थ के सारे प्रॉब्लम का सॉल्यूशन करता हूं, जीवन जीने की क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ में बदलाव लाता हूं। क्या मैं मल्टीपल एक्टिविटी वाली मेरी टेक्नोलॉजी, एक में से अनेक लाभ, इस दिशा में हम कुछ कर सकते हैं। और हमारे पास हमारे नौजवान दुनिया के किसी भी देश में जाएं तो इस प्रकार के पराक्रम कर सकते हैं। क्या अब हम भारत में वो अवसर दे सकते हैं? हमारी सभी इंस्टीट्यूशंस वे अपने इन हाउस इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर को कैसे डेवलप करें और कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड को उसको पार्टनरशिप कैसे दी जाए, ताकि कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड की जो आवश्यकता है, जो कमर्शियल में जाने वाले हैं, अगर इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर विद एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन होगा और ये तीनों का अगर मेलजोल होगा, तो मैं समझता हूं कि हम नए नए रिसर्च के लिए, कॉमर्शियल फील्ड में जाने के लिए तुरंत निर्णय कर सकते हैं और एक दूसरे को बल दे सकते हैं। हम मेक इन इंडिया की बात करते हैं। मेक इन इंडिया की सबसे बड़ी ताकत क्या है? रॉ मटेरियल हमारे हैं, ऐसा हम दावा नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन हमारे पास ह्यूमन कैपिटल इतना स्ट्रांग हमारा बेस है कि हम मेक इन इंडिया के लिए दुनिया में क्लेम कर सकते हैं। और उसके लिए स्किल डेवलपमेंट, हम जिन विषयों पर काम कर रहे हैं, मान लीजिए मेरी पेट्रोलियम यूनिवर्सिटी है, गैस बेस्ड इकोनॉमी की दिशा में देश आगे बढ़ रहा है। अगर गैस बेस्ड इकोनॉमी की दिशा में मेरा देश आगे बढ़ रहा है, तो मुझे एक छोटे से गांव में भी गैस से संबंधित जो टेक्नोलॉजी, रिपेयरिंग, पाइप रिपेयरिंग, सेफ्टी मेजर्स, इसके लिए छोटे छोटे लोगों की जरूरत पड़ेगी। क्या हमारी इंस्टीट्यूशन आखिरी छोर पर हमें किस प्रकार के ह्यूमन रिसोर्स डेवलपमेंट चाहिए, उसका सिलेबस तैयार करके स्किल डेवलपमेंट करने वाली इंस्टीट्यूशन तक उसको लिंकेज करे, तो मेरी यूनिवर्सिटी प्रोफेशनल लोगों को तैयार करेगी, मेरी यूनिवर्सिटी एक्सपर्ट साइंटिस्टों को तैयार करेगी, टेक्नीशियंस को तैयार करेगी, लेकिन बैकअप के लिए मुझे जिस प्रकार के ह्यूमन फोर्स की जरूरत होगी वो भी साइमल्टेनियस तैयार होगा। कितना बड़ा बदलाव आ सकता है। लेकिन हमारा काम टुकड़ों में होता है। जब तक हम होलिस्टिक अप्रोच नहीं करते, इंटीग्रेटेड अप्रोच नहीं करते हैं, तब ये टुकड़ों से जब व्यवस्था बनती है तो हमारी कठिनाई बढ़ जाती है। और इसलिए हमारे लिए ये भी आवश्यकता है। दूसरी प्रकार से कोई देश इन आइसोलेशन नहीं चल सकता, उसी प्रकार से कोई एक इंस्टीट्यूशन इन आइसोलेशन नहीं चल सकती। हमारे लिए आवश्यक है कि समग्र दुनिया कहां जा रही है, उस दुनिया में हम कहां जा सकते हैं, उस जगह पे पहुंचने के लिए हमारे वेज एंड मीन्स क्या है, हमारे रिसोर्सेज क्या है, हमारी कैपेबिलिटी क्या है, और उसमें हम 5 ईयर प्लान बना करके, 10 ईयर प्लान बना करके इन चीजों पर फोकस करेंगे। हम इतना पहुंचेंगे तब तो जाकर के होगा। अदरवाइज मुझे याद है, मैं जब नया नया गुजरात में सीएम बना तो मेरा फोकस था ITIs, एक प्रकार के वो टेक्नोलॉजी वर्ल्ड का शिशु मंदिर है, बाल मंदिर कह दीजिए। मैंने उस पर फोकस किया तो मैं हैरान था, वहां पर जो ऑटोमोबाइल के कोर्सेज थे वो कोर्सेज चल रहे थे जो गाड़ियां बनती ही नहीं है। अब कार वैसी अवेलेबल नहीं है, लेकिन आपका स्टूडेंट बेचारा एडमिशन लेकर के 1 साल भर उन चीजों को पढ़ता है। यानी कि हमें ये बदलाव लाने के लिए आप जहां पर हैं वहां से पीछे क्या हो सकता है, आप बहुत बड़ा कंट्रीब्यूशन कर सकते हैं। ये जो इम्प्रिंट के माध्यम से आप बहुत बड़ा कंट्रीब्यूशन कर सकते हैं। और इसलिए हम एक नए विजन से, लंबी सोच के साथ इन चीज़ों को कैसे करें। और हम लोग भाग्यवान हैं कि हमारे राष्ट्रपति जी स्वयं में अपने आप में एक चलती फिरती यूनिवर्सिटी है। कोई मुझे पूछे कि प्रधानमंत्री बनने का आपका सबसे बड़ा फायदा क्या है, तो मैं कहूंगा सबसे बड़ा मेरा फायदा है राष्ट्रपति जी के निकट जाने का। जब मैं मिलता हूं, ज्ञान का भंडार होता है। मैं सच बताता हूं जी, इतनी चीजें बारीकी से बताते हो, उसके साथ उनका एक्सपीरियंस होता है। आप लोगों के सीधा सीधा उनका मार्गदर्शन है आपको, उनके मार्गदर्शन में आप लोगों को काम करना है। मैं नहीं मानता हूं कि अब कोई हमें रोक सकता है। स्काई द लिमिट। अब आप राष्ट्रपति जी के आदेशों के अनुसार, इच्छा के अनुसार चीजों को करेंगे। मैं मानता हूं राष्ट्र लाभान्वित होगा। मेरी आप सबको बहुत शुभकामनाएं हैं। मैं राष्ट्रपति जी का बहुत आभारी हूं कि मुझे आप सबके बीच आने का अवसर दिया। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Prime Minister, sir, for your inspirational and stirring address. I now have the privilege to request Honorable President Sri Pranab Mukherjee to address this gathering. Honorable President, sir.
Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi, HRD Minister Srimati Smriti Jubi Nirani, other ministers, leaders of the institutions of higher learning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to all of you. I extend a warm welcome to you all who are here to attend the first ever Visitors Conference. In the past, I have had the occasion to meet many of you during the different conferences organized at the Rashtrapati Bhavan and convocations at your institutions. This is, however, for the first time that as visitor I am meeting you all together, and I am glad that I have the opportunity of welcoming you to this historic hall which has witnessed many momentous events, which has impacted on the evolution and forward movement of this country. These magnificent columns, beautiful chandeliers, high dome, witnessed at the midnight of 14th, 15th August, ending colonial rule of 190 years. This all witnessed within 3 years of our independence, when we began our tryst with destiny, how India came out of dominion status and converted itself into the republic where the people of this country in the Constituent Assembly gave to themselves an unique constitution which has kept us together amidst so much diversities. I'm glad to have the first visitors' conference inviting all heads of the central institutions at this hall. Thank you for attendance. As mentioned by my secretary, the outcomes of the previous conferences have given us the confidence that the institutions of higher learning, if they come together, can make a difference in a short span of time to higher education sector in our country. With this shared belief, we are here today. I thank Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi for his gracious presence, his enchanting speech, inspiring words, I have no doubt, will set the tone for the deliberations during the conference. I take this opportunity to also place on record my appreciation for Srimati Smriti Jubin Irani, Minister for Human Resource Development, by steering various initiatives with purpose and energy. She has taken forward the education sector. I compliment the Prime Minister and the HRD Minister for the just launched programs of imprint. A pan-IIT and IISc initiative. The 10 themes of this program, identifying the immediate requirement of the society, will lay down the research roadmap for institutes of national importance. I call upon the academic leaders of institutes in social science and humanities domain to formulate a similar joint initiative for conducting research on themes of relevance to public policy making. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's true that the past 10 years have seen a vast expansion of the higher education infrastructure. However, low gross enrollment ratio at 21% in India as against the world average of 27% remains a cause of concern. A new education policy is being formulated. I am told that a process of consultation has commenced on 13 themes for school education and 20 themes for higher education. The new policy must alter the dynamics of the education sector and help us achieve the GER target of 30% by year 2020, a goal we cannot afford to miss. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, at the altar of expansion, quality should not be sacrificed. Greater number of institutions translate into greater number of seats, enhancing access and equity in higher education. However, it has generated a lively debate on reach versus excellence, quality versus affordability, and accountability versus autonomy. A calm assessment will make it clear to all stakeholders that we need both reach and excellence, quality and affordability, and autonomy with accountability. Increasing access in higher education through digital inclusion is a way forward. We should, without delay, think of taking modified MOOCs to the secondary education level. To skill India, we must design MOOCs that is interactive and offer vocational aspirations and opportunity to learn. This could revolutionize delivery of skills knowledge. Distinguished participants, an institute of higher learning find its real value by excelling in education, research, and innovation. This calls for faculty development and augmentation of teaching resources across the board. This calls for inspired teachers, keen to learn students, and good physical and research infrastructure. This calls for a reliable and extensive ICT network. Some encouraging developments of the recent past that I can recall are intensification of exchange of faculty through format arrangements with foreign institutions. In addition to the memorandum of understandings that must have been signed by various institutions of higher learning, over 80 MOUs with 50 overseas institutions have been signed during my visit abroad last 2 years. This demonstrates the interest and potential for collaboration with international institutions. Removal of bottlenecks and simplification of procedures for filling of faculty positions. Engagement of adjunct faculty and hiring of foreign experts. The global initiative for academic networks is a welcome step aimed at tapping the global pool of talented scientists and entrepreneurs. By encouraging their engagement with Indian institutes, we can augment our country's academic resources. Distinguished participants, it's good to see research moving center stage in our institutions of higher learning. This will, in near future, help us to meet the need for good faculty. A recent example is IIT Delhi, which has awarded 221 PhDs this year, the highest in a year so far. It has resolved to increase the number to 400 in the next few years. Such initiatives will not only lead to higher research quotient for the nation, but also improve rankings of the institutions. I congratulate them. Earlier, not a single Indian institution came within the top 200 institutions in international rankings. It seems that my persistent exhortation has paid off. Many of you have responded to my call. I am grateful for that. Our institutions are now taking the ranking process more seriously in a proactive and systematic manner. In the QS World University Ranking 2015-16, Indian institutions have broken into the top 200 for the first time. I compliment Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, which is ranked 147th, and Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, ranked 179 for this achievement. If we provide enough funds to top 10 to 20 institutions for the next 4 or 5 years, we will soon see them stored into the top 100 places. The National Institution Ranking Framework, launched by the Ministry of Human Resource Development with an India-centric approach, is a step in the right direction. This initiative should enable Indian institutes of higher learning to realize their potential and emerge as world-class institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, knowledge is indivisible. We must follow a multidisciplinary approach that allows students to learn and seek knowledge holistically. Our institutions must impart education to the students that help expand their intellect, form their character, instill in them a spirit of service and love for motherland. It must equip them to face the struggles of real life. It must deepen the students' linkage with the society. It is also necessary to develop in our students a scientific temper which allows the flight for imagination beyond the realm of grades and classrooms. Promotion of research at the undergraduate level would assist such an objective. Distinguished participants, the link between progress and innovation is direct. History is witness to many nations, low on natural resources, emerging an advanced economy only on the strength of rapid technological development. India today stands within a striking distance of realizing the dreams of dreams of the founding fathers of our nation. Indian youth are second to none in entrepreneurship. India serves as the fastest growing startup base worldwide and stands third with 4,200 startups, and next only to United States and United Kingdom. The government has initiated the Startup India, Stand Up India campaign to incentivize the entrepreneurial ventures. Prime Minister's speech this morning, I have no doubt, will inspire the entrepreneurs to build up this campaign at higher level. Heads of institutes of higher learning must work towards creating an innovation and research network that will produce entrepreneurs and nurture innovations. The setting up of innovation clubs in over 60 central institutions in the last 2 years is a good beginning for a platform where novel ideas can be nurtured and innovators mentored to develop new products. In response to the decision taken in the conference of the Vice Chancellors of Central Universities in 2014, industry interface cells have been set up in many institutions. These cells are now lending vigor to activities like joint research, faculty exchange, and setting up of chairs and endowments. These cells can also interact closely with innovation incubators for monetizing ideas and research. The 45 Memorandum of Understandings signed with the industry yesterday takes us to the next level of partnership between industry and academia. Ladies and gentlemen, academic institutions are an important stakeholders for the socio-economic development of the nation. I had earlier asked central universities and NITs to adopt at least 5 villages and transform them into the model villages. I now extend my call to all the 114 central institutions. After identifying problems in the adopted villages, they must pull all academic and technical resources at their disposal to provide solutions that will enhance the quality of life of our countrymen. As we start the deliberations in this conference, I assure you of an exciting journey ahead in the world of education. Be ready for roadblocks, criticisms, failures, and successes. But continue to work with a fresh and positive mind. Do take heart from what Mahatma Gandhi said, and I quote, "First, they ignore you. Then they laugh at you. Then they fight you. Then you will win." Unquote. And win, you will. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Honorable President, sir, for your words of wisdom and guidance. I now request Sri Vineshil Oberoi, Secretary, Higher Education, MHRD, to propose the vote of thanks.
Honorable President of India, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Minister of Human Resource Development, Honorable members of the Cabinet, Secretary to the President, heads of institutions of higher learning, distinguished academics, representatives of industry, and my colleagues from government, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor and privilege to extend a vote of thanks on this rare and unique morning where we've had the privilege of listening to the leaders of our nation as they share their thoughts, their mind and vision for the educational sector for India. It is our responsibility now to take this vision, to translate it into our dreams and then to reality. Sir, I would like to thank the Honorable President for the initiative. This edition, the largest edition of the Visitors' Conference, which has become and evolved into a growing and impactful platform for sharing, review, and dialogue, and a productive platform, as we have seen that over the past year, we have taken many of the ideas, many of the directions, the roadmap, and sought to make that into a blueprint for the future. So the Honorable President, in his address, he reminded us through the advice and encouragement of the need to expand access to higher education ratio, that our gross enrollment ratio is still a little over 22%, and we need to take this to 30% over the next few years to expand not only access, but equity and quality, and to ensure that the educational system meets the aspirations of our people. The Honorable President referred to the consultative and inclusive process through which the new education policy is being formulated, and reminded us of our responsibilities, that quality must be maintained and enhanced. He referred to the issues of autonomy, but also of accountability. He referred to the many programs, and many of these have had their seeds in the addresses delivered at this conference and elsewhere by the Honorable President and by the Honorable Prime Minister. The Honorable Prime Minister spoke of the issues, the paths to their resolution, and the structures that must support a nationwide effort to bring education to the forefront as a catalytic agent, as an instrument of change, that science must be universal, but technology must be local, and that you need local solutions for local needs, and that we must move ahead not just in borrowed technologies, but our own. He cited many sectors and examples, from climate change to defense, to the everyday problems that confront our people. But the Honorable Prime Minister spoke of the need to have a holistic and integrated approach, that institutions cannot work in isolation, that technologies that we develop must be adaptable, affordable, and adoptable, and that we must move in that direction. I would like to thank the Secretary to the President and her team for her guidance and for the meticulous efforts that have gone into this conference, which has had this remarkably insightful and auspicious beginning. I thank the imprint team led by Professor Indranil Manna and all our family of institutions represented here by their heads for their participation and for what I believe will be 2 days of both dialogue, discussion, as well as outcome. At the end, I would like to thank again the Honorable President and the Honorable Prime Minister for sharing their vision and also guiding us on how they can achieve it. I must express my thanks to the Honorable Minister of Human Resource Development for her constant encouragement and motivation, which has taken our team at the Ministry and our family of institutions to believe in itself and to move towards bringing about the change that has been spoken of this morning. Thank you all, and thank you for this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
माननीय राष्ट्रपति श्री प्रणब मुखर्जी, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी, अन्य विशिष्ट अतिथिगणों के साथ दरबार हॉल से प्रस्थान करते हुए उम्मीद की जानी चाहिए कि इम्प्रिंट इंडिया की इस विशेष पहल के माध्यम से देश में सामाजिक रूप से प्रासंगिक शोध को प्रोत्साहन मिलेगा, जिसका लाभ समाज के हर वर्ग तक पहुंच सकेगा। नमस्कार।